So Harry keeps his worldwide privacy tour, but this time going to the Wellchild Awards where he was not really enjoying himself, even if Meghan was not around. As you can see in these two pictures where his body language speaks for itself. First taking a picture with a bland fake smile and then a sharp display of covert anger as soon as the cameras are not on him. And in this event, Harry even had the gall to invoke the memory of Queen Elizabeth. As you know, I was unable to attend the awards last year as my grandmother passed away. I know, exactly 1 year on. She's looking down on all of us tonight. Happy we are together, continuing to spotlight such an incredible community. What a hypocrite. True Blue put it best on Wellchild at the Wellchild Awards. Welcome back, my 152,000 Royal Rogues, plus the close to 1 million who haven't subscribed yet. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. And not only Harry is trying to ride on free cloud, because we also have Patrick J. Adams, Meghan's co-star in Suits, trying to remember the old times, sharing clips of Meghan dancing that I will absolutely not share here. And he's trying to piggyback on the Duchess of Sussex. No, wait, that came out wrong. But you got it. He's trying to piggyback on her infamy by changing his bio to the guy who died from that show you're watching on that app because that girl married that prince. I mean, that's a bit pathetic. Now, sometimes a bit of self-awareness and not taking yourself so seriously can take you far, but this is pretty much cringe. Maybe he hasn't been that busy lately, or maybe this is a direct command from his own PR agency. And I always say that I'm not going to mention other royal commentators here, but there are so many outrageous examples, as in this case is Cameron Walker, who wrote a piece for GV News titled Prince Harry Could Become King, as conflicted Charles' personal feelings leave door open. I mean, what are these people smoking? And that's a genuine question. Because an article like this implies a horrific tragedy that I don't need to explain here. And you know what's worse? That he's not only a snake, but also a coward, because instead of facing the backlash head on, he just quietly sanitized and changed the headline of the article to make it seem more neutral, more legalese. But these people are not fooling anybody. What happened with standing by your words? No, that is simply too much to ask from these rambling mercenaries. And speaking of rambling mercenaries, Sausage's biographer Discount Barbican sets his sights on William as he dedicates a whole chapter to the Prince of Wales in new book Endgame. And of course I play with all the words here because I don't want to give a single ounce of publicity to this chap. But just take a look at the chapter names. The Queen and Her Piper, Elizabeth II's final days. Shaky ground, the Queen is dead, the monarchy faces trouble. And he even plays with certain symbols, such as the ongoing campaign to make the royals great again. Yeah, that one was absolutely on purpose. Of course, he also has to mention Prince Andrew's scandal, the so-called institutional bigotry and denial, and a silly comparison between William and Harry. My question is, will you be reading this drivel or maybe wait for my review? But in terms of waiting, I can't wait for the Trump versus Markle debate to be a reality. And it's amusing to see people on Twitter that completely despise the former US president but agree on his stance that Meghan did not treat the Queen the way she deserved. But then I ask a question to my rogues on Twitter, who would you pick for moderator of such an event? There were many answers, but the four names that stood out many times were Ricky Gervais, Nana Acquia, Megyn Kelly, or Piers Morgan. Not gonna lie, debate or no debate, this would be an amazing panel to talk about the crazy things happening in the world right now. And at the same time, thanks to all my rogues that suggested that I should be the moderator of such an event. I'm flattered by your suggestion. I will be delighted to do it. And one of your picks, Piers Morgan, talked openly about Harry attending the Wellchild Awards. Imagine flying 6,000 miles to the city where your closest family all live, and none of them want to see you because you keep trashing them in public. On the eve of the anniversary of the Queen's death, I'll have a message for Half with Harry. Well, I'm sure that's gonna be fire. But by the way, what's going on with Harry's face in here? It's not the same Harry that we have seen in past days, especially when he was with Nacho or by himself at the Miami and LA football game. It's like trying to send an SOS, trying to tell the world that he prefers the luxury VIP treatment with none of the patronage stuff that is ultimately boring to him, and it shows. And you would think that since outlets like the Daily Abscess confirming the disappearance of Meghan from the Invictus Games schedule would paint a smile on Harry's face, but you're wrong again. And correct me if I am wrong, but since I have been covering the Montecito morons shenanigans since 2 years ago, I have never seen them so disjointed and all over the place. And it's a good idea to go back to those pictures at the start of today's show where you can confirm how Harry himself is lost when something is expected of him. In this case, being the patron of the Wellchild Awards. And by the way, wasn't Meghan the avatar of women and girls' empowerment? Wouldn't it make sense for her to attend the Wellchild Awards with Harry? But no, we're talking about people who keep breaking the hypocrisy ceiling. But let's talk about how Prince William surprised everyone just showing up at a pret-a-manger at Bournemouth. Okay, well, I'm sorry about my pronunciation, but I'm still dealing with Edinburgh and Worcestershire. But, well, it was amazing to see him surrounded by so many people happy to see him. And you can feel that magnetism that he has and the effect he's got on everyone. I understand that you could say that this is just the effect of being a prince, and these people are just starstruck with royalty right in front of them, but this doesn't happen with Harry, so make of that what you will. But it's not like William hasn't had to work hard for that magnetism to make everyone feel that warm and feel like they can reach out to him like he's a real human being. But sadly, there's one thing that is almost hardwired in us, and it's our constant comparison. That's why the media keeps comparing Meghan to Catherine or William with Harry, and it's for a good reason because it triggers us into reacting, into clicking the article to see what happens. But sometimes they go too far, like in this case. Look at this headline. The Telegraph. Charles worked more days than his mother in their first years as monarch. I mean, what kind of comparison is that? Is this some kind of competition? It's also important to remember that when Queen Elizabeth was crowned, she had two small children aged 2 and 4. So, well, I guess this is a Telegraph thing, such as this sort of poll. What have you made of Charles' first year as king? But when you click, there's a paywall. I guess they don't care about your opinion after all. My Royal Rogues, remember to download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Much love and bliss.